Want to nail engineering manager interviews at Mang and other top-tier companies? You can with USA's #1 tech interview prep platform. We have 300 plus SMEs and instructors from top-tier tech companies to help you land your dream job. We've helped thousands of engineers make their way into Mang. You could be next. To learn more, register for our free webinar.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me fine?
Yes, I can hear. So this is a dynamic programming, is that
Correct.
right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So are you looking for engineer management position, or you are also looking for IC role, or?
So I came to IK to tell you frankly. So when I did couple of interviews, I got pings from Netflix and Amazon and all. I realized quickly that the interview questions were very tough, and I was thinking, what is missing? Then one of my friend got a job, a very good position, and she told me about IK. And coming to IK was I think blessing in disguise, because I never studied graphs. And even dynamic programming was a new thing for me. You
Okay.
won't believe it, but that's the reality. So at this point, keeping my options open, I could go into TPM, I could go into product manager, engineering manager.
All right. So we have the question created in the code bank. So feel
Okay,
free to take a look.
let's see. Okay, the cost. So basically, there is a row of n houses where each house can be painted one of the three colors: red, blue, green. Cost of painting each house with a certain color is different. Cost of painting with a certain color is represented by n by 3 cost matrix. Okay. 0 with the color red. Okay, so basically, if I'm looking at this one, cost of painting color red, blue, and green. So red is 17 for the first house, right? And 16 for the next house. This is how interpreted, correct? And blue is this. And what are we finding? Is it the minimum or maximum cost? Minimum, of course. Okay, and then the adjacent should not have same colors. We to switch the color cost. Okay, let's look at the example. So paint the house 0 in blue because it's 2. Okay, paint the house 1 in green. That's 5. Okay, I got it. So every time you're choosing the minimum, and then you're not. If you painted red, then you next time you have 2 options, right? So if my choice points are this, right? So first time I can choose green, sorry, a red, then I can choose a blue, then I can choose a green. So I go here, I have 2 choices because I've already done. So I have I can do a green or a blue here, right? And in this case I can do a red, or I can do a green, and so on. So I have 2 choices here. Again, every time from this perspective also I have 2 choices. So this looks like exponential, right? Every time it's a branching factor of maximum 3, right? So what would I do if I'm painting, like let's say 2, 3, and nth house, right? So if I'm painting nth house, like n minus 1 and n minus 2. So I'm painting nth house. What would I do? I would look at, of course, I can't choose this color right here. That means I have to choose the other 2 colors, and so that means I can look at the other 2 colors at this location. So if let's say this house is printed R red, then I have choice of green and blue, and whatever is the cost, right? So I can take a minimum of that cost here, this or that, and that will be my cost here. So okay, now what can I do? Yeah, that okay. So let's see, what would be, let's take an example here. Input cast, yeah, this is simple. So if you have 0 elements, then 0. If you have only 1, then just choose the minimum of these 3. Then if you have more than, so basically base cases are 0, length is equal to 0, or length is 1, then very straightforward. If we have more than 1, no, actually 2 also, right? If the length is 2, uh, length is 2, I can choose the minimum of first and the minimum of second. So basically the interesting, I mean, we'll have to calculate from 3 onwards, right? So 1 to 0, 1, 2, I could have the base cases, and 3 onwards, I'll need to calculate this. So what is the okay? Then constraint is what? Cost dot length is n. Cost dot I dot length is 3. But there are hundreds. So okay, so 3 raised to 100 could be if we write a brute force. And cost of ij is oh, so it's between 1 to 20. Okay, got it. 1 to 20. Okay, so I'm going to try to write the recurrence. So should I delete this?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. I don't have iPad connected. I am using this 3D painting and have this hardware that I got, simple cheap hardware. So okay, so basically, let's see if I can write the recursion. Then we can optimize. Curse is not working fine. Give me 1 minute. Let me just do this. Okay. So if I can write the recursion, so cost, calculate cost, and this is an array of array, right? So basically in array of array cost, right? My first, I'm not writing actual code. I just want to write, if I can, write the recursion, then we can look at DP. So if the so the basic 1, 2, and 3, I'll write cases here. For the next one, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the cost return. So basically, cost is equal to cost of n equal to minimum of. Um, so if I choose red, then I have to choose other colors, right? So cost of n is going to be, and then I have to understand which color I painted last time. So that, let's say, color index equal to, so if I represent red by 0, and then so if it was 0, then I have to choose 1 or 2 right here. Minimum of cost, area of cost. Eraser. Where is the eraser? The controls. So if my color index is something, for example, right, it's either 0, 1, or 2, then what I'm doing here is minimum of costs of n minus 1, and then I'm doing, if it was 0, then I'm 1, or costs, cost of n minus I and 2, right? So let's assuming I have chosen red color for the previous, and then of course I'm adding the cost. This is getting no, I can't use cost of n minus I. I have to use cost of n. Sorry, I have to use cost at that location, correct? Yes, but I have to choose the color that I have not used, and I have to basically keep running I mean, keep calculating cost and adding to that. Let me go back to my example here. If the length is 0, you return 0. If length is 1, then you do a minimum these three. Okay. Doesn't make sense. Cost of animals, minimum cost of. Oh. So how we decide if this one is programmatic, right? If it is 0, then you use 1 or 2. Let's see if I take this example. Okay, 17. Let me take an example 17, 2, and 17. Because the index is 1, you have to initialize with this, right? And it has to choose the minimum of everything. That means there has to be a for loop. Let me take an example. So in the current example, right? So I'm going to choose 2 as first, and I think that it is, I painted it as a blue. Then the next one I'm going to choose 5, and it's not blue, so it has to be green. And the next one, because I've painted green, I can look at red and blue, but I'm going to choose 3, which is red. Right, so what am I doing here is, but then every time I have to keep adding. So basically in this array it should be 7, in this it should be 10. So I have to add the cost also. So whatever cost I choose, and then I have to add the cost. So not the cost. So I have to have some array like dp. So I'll be adding dp of n minus 1. Right. So if I add 5 to 3, that means I'm adding n minus 1 to whatever minimum I calculate. The cost of, yeah. Would this work?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that should work. Okay, let's start writing. Oh, why did I? Sorry. Okay. Let me start writing the code. So we're going to have a return int, right? Return calculate cost. So it's going to take a integer array cost. Why is it not going down? Okay. So first what we are doing is definitely defining the dp array, right? And then handle the base cases, and then basically a for loop, right? Handle greater than 3. Okay. In this case, we don't have two variables, so basically it's going to be an array of 1, a 1D array, right? Now, what would be the size of that? The size of that would be cost dot length dot this one. I'm calculating n houses. Yeah, so actually I don't need a plus one. The same array. Now my base case was let's see. So dp of 0. How do I initialize first dp? That's going to be the minimum of costs. No, but I'm also not storing which color I choose, right? So my dp needs to also store the color that I chose last time. Yeah, I need to have a two-dimensional array, but the first is the cost, and the second one would be the color I choose. So I could store in the second half, the first column there. So dp of my dp of 0, 0 would be the in costs, so whatever is the minimum of cost 0 or costs 0. It's the double array, right? Yeah. 0 0 or cost 0 1 or costs 0 2. Okay, so this will take care of the first my first row, but then I need to also store which color did I choose, right? So which color did I choose? How would I find that? Let me take an example. Color example is the index here, right? So basically in this case, my int red is equal to 0, right? And then is that sorry, blue, yeah, blue is 1 equal to 1 and green equal to 2. Red, blue, green. Okay, this will initialize that, but then how do I choose which one I choose? Well, I can write a conditional statement here. I can write a conditional statement if basically less than this, right? If it is less than that and cost of red is also less less than cost of green, that means I chose first color I chose was red color, right? So I'm going to say dp of 0 1 I chose is red. Am I going in the wrong way? I'm sorry.
No, you're on the right track. Just keep going there.
Okay, and then I can repeat for all these guys. I can optimize it later. For now, just I'm going to see how I can. Okay, that means blue. I choose blue. And here I chose green. Green. Okay. Let me draw how the DP will look like. So this is my two-dimensional array, right? And this is my column, two columns basically. One column I'm storing color, and one column I'm storing the cost, right? So basically, the color should be one. Okay, zero is the cost one. Okay, so this should be one. Okay. My cost array. This is my DP array. My cost array is like this, right? So basically, it has 17, 17, 2 in 17. So then we have 16, yeah, 16, 5, 14, 3, and 19. But my DP is going to look like this. First, I'm going to choose whichever color is the minimum here. In this case, it will choose 2. Color I'm storing is 0. Column number 1, column number 0. The next time, what I'm going to do is, okay, so from here then onwards, what we do is we add this cost plus, so this 2 plus minimum of the other two colors, minimum of the other two colors. Done. Okay. Minimum of the other two colors means it's I'm doing minimum of what's that, 16, 16, and 5. But of course, this is red, so I'm only choosing this 16 and 5. So I think my for loop can start from the 0th I've already taken care. So I can start from the first int equal int my I equal to equal to 1. I need to go until the length of the cost. I plus plus. So what am I doing here? So I'm going to do dp of my I, right? And then 0 because that's my cost. It's going to be I'm going to add a dp of I minus 1. Oh, sorry, I minus 1 0. That's my previous cost plus. Then now I'm going to do a minimum. So minimum of here I have to choose if the other two indexes, right? So I could have a normal switch statement. If I choose red, then blue, green. How can I do it? Let me write the switch statement, right?
Mhm.
I'm not able to switch dp of I minus 1. Sorry, dp of minus 1, 1. So whatever was that, right? So I'm going to have case red here, then case blue here, and then case green here. Okay. End of my switch. Break. Um, I had coded in Java 5 and a little bit of 7, so my coding style is a little bit older. I have noted that too.
Mhm.
Okay, so in here, what I'm doing, this is so basically I'm in that my DP of uh, zero I sorry I and 0, right? I am plus equal to, because I already did the previous cost, minimum of I'm going to say now cost. So if I choose red, then cost of I, and I'm choosing the other color. So basically blue or cost I of green. So I'm choosing, if I chose the red color um, previously, right? Then I'm adding minimum of blue or green at that location from the costs end. Okay, the same thing if I chose blue. So if I chose blue, then I'm going to do red and green. If I chose green, then I'm going to do blue or red. Okay, and this should calculate me all the cost, and my cost would be in the my dp of n minus 1, because we created dp of this length. Yeah, cost length minus 1. Okay, so yeah, the first cost. Okay, I have not handled the base case. Is if the cost dot length is 0, right? Return 0. Yeah, I think that should rest cases should be handled. Should I write a test case here? Let's write a test
We
case.
don't need to write a test case. We just return this one should be fine. So what is the time complexity for this?
I am going through each house at one time, so it's basically order of n,
Mm-hmm.
and the space complexity would be, because my DP is the two-dimensional array, but of course one column here, still O of m n, because into times 1, right? M and here column is 1, m is 1, so um, yeah, mn, column of o m n, so it will again be order of n.
Okay, great, cool. We are pretty much done for this problem.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions for me or anything else you'd like to discuss before we continue debugging?
No, I think I would like to get the feedback if what I could have done right. I know this looks a little bit big. Maybe I can optimize it.
Mhm.
But I'm a little bit old type of coder, so I have more verbose code. I think I need to write more conditional statements here, I think. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, this should be fine. I mean, the dynamic programming doesn't have a lot of structures for coding. As long as the logic is correct, you get the data right, then it should be
Mm-hmm.
fine. But usually,
Mm-hmm.
dynamic programming, the code is not elegant from anyone.
Okay.
Okay, great. So for me, I don't see anything. It's pretty good. You got everything done ahead of time. You're pretty good communicator, getting the code fluency there to have this resolved.
Hmm.
Uh, Definitely, from this interview, I don't see anything warning sign. It's pretty good.
Oh, that's great. So how would I minimize my, how would I reduce my time? Do you have any suggestions over there? Like instead of finishing this in whatever 30 minutes or 40 minutes, I could have done this in like 10-15 minutes, right? If I'm solving dynamic programming problems all the time.
You don't have to. Most of the time, for the big company, they ask you one question for 45 minutes interview. So you
Oh,
don't have to really
great.
rush to get the second one.
Oh, that's good. So, and this problem would be considered an medium, easy. I'm not sure it's hard, but medium or easy, right? Or what is your assessment?
It's a medium.
It's a medium. Okay. And so typically, candidates would come up with the algorithm in 45 minutes. That's an expectation, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Um, Okay. I think I'm really not good at metrics, dynamic programming. Do you have any, pointers there how I can improve that? I think sometimes I'm not able to visualize, things. How do you do that?
So first of all, dynamic programming is not popular from any company. So I would recommend not to spend a lot of energy for this because most company they don't ask dynamic programming. That's one
Okay.
thing, keep that in mind.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Secondly, dynamic programming is more like a lucky base. If you can figure out the formula, then you know how
Mm-hmm.
to do it. Otherwise, it's nothing there. So it's all
Oh.
about at real time to overcome all the nerves, to
Mm-hmm.
find out the formula smartly uh,
Mm-hmm.
when you see something brand new. So that's what it takes to success in the dynamic programming. The number of exercises doesn't really help as much because the
Oh.
solution doesn't map to others.
Oh, so I came into this thing knowing that it's a dynamic programming. So I think I jumped into recursion. Otherwise, I would have thought about all brute force
Mhm.
methods, right? Oh, okay.
Yes, so they are so for any companies, they don't ask questions that can be only solved by dynamic programming. So if you know
Correct.
any other way of doing things very well, then you can use other ways.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. And I just want a little bit feedback. How does this 3D painting work? Do you think it was useful, or did I do it right? My handwriting is not that. I think it's sloppy. You can improve that.
That's-
But
We don't have to use this. System design, we definitely need to use something like this.
uh-huh.
Coding wise, this is nice to have. If
Uh-huh.
this one doesn't slow you down, then you can do it. If you feel this one take you a lot of time, energy, it
Hmm.
may slow down your coding, then you do not do this.
Okay.
Your coding is the most important part at the end. All the other things is if they help you, then you use that. Otherwise, do not.
Okay, got it. And in a real interview, then I would be also writing test case here, right? Creating an integer array and running this. Typically, that's how it works.
You don't have to. You just finish the main function should be fine for most good companies.
Okay.
Some company they give you editor, they want you to compile to see the result. Then
Mm-hmm.
based on that, you can run it.
Awesome. Sounds good. This gives me confidence.
Mm.
Yeah. I have not solved, maybe like 10 problems on lead code. How much do you think I should be solving? How many problems should I be solving on lead code? Not just dynamic programming, anything. What should be my, like, or should I or shouldn't I? I mean, what do you think?
At least 200, 300.
200, 300. Okay. Okay. So if I do two every day, wow, that's a lot. Okay,
Yeah, you
got it.
need to do more than two every day. Then. For this
Yeah.
one, you just solve it in 45 minutes. This is one legal problem.
Which do you know the number of this lead code problem?
Yeah, it's in the code bank line number 2.
Line number two. Oh, sorry, I didn't know. So I did not notice. Oh yeah, that paint house. Okay, I'll take a look at that too
Yeah,
and
yeah,
run my code there. Make sure it passes all the test cases.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sounds good.
Mhm.
Any
Okay.
any other suggestions for me coming from non-coding engineering manager to trying to make into the new way of world? Any suggestion? I know systems design, scalable systems. I am preparing for because I never worked. I've never none of my projects were involved more like scales. They were ever okay because as you see, hardware and firmware and software combination, right? We kept the users to minimum 10 and all, so there was no user scaling and nothing like that. So mostly it was scaling from the services perspective, right? Microservices that we have and all those things. Any other pointer for me?
For you, it's more like exercise because you have years of experience. You know what you're doing. All you need to know is be more fluency, right? So that's the only thing you need. So by overcoming that, just doing more exercise for the lead code, try to solve 200 problems, and then you should be there.
Okay, I'll plan for that. 200 problems. I've never had any interview on graphs and maybe I think systems design. I've had one. Do you suggest me to go more into algorithm kind of interviews or scalable systems? I'm okay. I think I can I have a little bit confidence, but on the coding side I don't have. What would you suggest? Should I do graph interviews more, trees, or what is that I would face in the real interview as a manager?
Coding wise, you're facing the same as any other IC. Tree graph are under data structure algorithm as well because they are data structures. All of them combined together is coding interview. It can be string, stack, queue, dynamic programming, recursion, tree, or graph. All of these are on the same random pool. I don't want to break them up. So when you prepare coding, it should cover everything in the lead code, including all the topics.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to have 1 week, then you want to do this as close as the real interview. The real interview, nobody tell you this is a tree or graph. They just give you a problem you fill out. You want to do that randomized. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'll schedule a generic then so that I can struggle more. Okay.
Right.
Sounds good. Yeah, this is a great feedback. Thank you so much. I have very least amount of confidence, as you can see, in terms of coding. I'm trying to get go from point A to B and then to where I'm very confident.
And I hope you can get in some good offers very soon.
Yeah, my plan is basically do the lead code as I told you. I think I'll target for 200. Thank you for your time and feedback.
Yeah, thank you. All right, have a good day then.
You too. Take care. Thanks.